Sometimes all it takes is one little extra thing, one little push to get back into a game. Maybe it's a game you fell off of years ago, or maybe it's one you love replaying, but you just haven't had a reason to in recent years. A lot of times that happens, games pop back in your head thanks to fan discoveries, or members of the video game community, the video game world, the fandom, discovering cool new fun tricks and secrets about some of your favorite games, giving you a reason to go check it out again. So today we got 10 new fan discoveries that'll get you playing a game again. So we got 10, let's get started off with number 10. It's the Red Dead Redemption 2 Spiderweb mystery. This one's pretty recent, and it's kind of why we decided to make this video. We all assumed that everything that there was to be found in Red Dead 2 was already uncovered, like that was it, that was a wrap. But there's at least one major Easter egg that nobody noticed until now, like right now, 2026. Discovered by a group of Red Dead Easter egg hunters who go by the names of Golden Play Steraria, Pariah87, and U/FL4V-01. There are a mysterious series of telephone poles that for a very brief time at night have a strange spiderweb pattern on them. I assumed at first this was going to be like some new Easter egg that Rockstar actually slipped into the game with like an update or something, but no, the guys who found this thing went back and confirmed that this Easter egg was always in the game. It's just miraculously, insanely gone unnoticed for 7 years. Now, as usual, Rockstar, this stuff gets pretty cryptic, and the spiderweb poles are just the beginning of like a whole mystery. It all started with a telegraph pole with a weird spider symbol on it. If you overlay this symbol over the map, then it points to 8 different locations, all with their own spiderwebs on them. You have to find these things in a certain order, following the clues until it gives you a final clue that has NW and a picture of a guitar on it. It's pointing to Fort Wallace, which is a location that is guitar-shaped if seen from above. Now, right now, that's where the trail runs cold. There are lots of little clues hidden in the fort, along with more guitars, but what people are expected to do from here is still, at least at the time of making this video, it's a mystery. So that Red Dead 2 can still have secrets that nobody found after all these years is just incredible. That's fascinating. It goes to show that even when you've got literally millions of people hunting for hidden secrets in your games, some things can still just slip through the cracks. Next at number 9, it's been nearly 25 years since Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex came out, but it wasn't until late last year that someone noticed a peculiar message hidden in the background of one of the game's levels. So now, a lot of people will not say that Wrath of Cortex is the best game in the series. It really depends on which of these games you grew up with, but as the 4th main game in the franchise, it was an extremely rushed time frame that it was made in, and it really is better than it could have been for sure. I thought it was pretty jarring coming from the Naughty Dog Crash Bandicoot games to this, but hey, it had some things here and there worth highlighting. Look, game aside, Wrath of Cortex, it's a very complex thing for old Crash fans, but the Easter egg was found by a Reddit user here named Dangerous Tax with 2 X's -8926 on an emulator, and that's probably the reason why this went unnoticed for so long. On the lower resolution original game, it was just much harder to see the details in the background textures and on your old crappy TV in your mom's basement. Now, with the power of upscaling, it's a lot easier to tell that these characters here that were intended to, portray a language found in the Tsunami level are actually just English words that say, and I quote, "big dog's cock." That's just what it says, all right, people? Look, I don't know why it says that other than to sneak something weird into the game that nobody would notice at the time. It kind of sounds like a Tim Robinson bit. It's an extremely dumb Easter egg, but, sometimes I really like the dumb ones. I can't help it. Now at number 8, Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville. With this one, we gotta come clean, we gotta admit, it's not exactly a new discovery. This is an Easter egg that people have known about for 4 years now, so it's not a brand new discovery or anything, but with the player counts of the Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare game spiking in the past couple of weeks, along with the fact that we've actually never really noticed or covered this one, makes it a prime candidate to just talk about it, all right? And if there's any game on this list that actually kind of deserves a second look, it's these games, which were weirdly well made and ambitious for multiplayer spin-offs of the Plants vs. Zombies tower defense games. Now, this Easter egg took a while for people to find, and the actual method to unlocking it is pretty unexpected. So in the game's central hub area of Giddy Park, there's a giant piano for people to just mess with. It's got a few Easter eggs and secrets associated with it already, but if you want to see this discovery, which involves a giant dinosaur skeleton, you have to put in the first keys of The Entertainer, one of those songs everybody is gonna learn when starting out. You know the one, that one. There are videos out there that go into detail on this, but the actual sequence of keys is pretty easy to perform. Just hit them and the world will start shaking. Then simply head outside and look for this absolutely massive T-Rex fossil skeleton looming over the entire map. Now, what does Scott Joplin's The Entertainer little musical diddly have to do with dino fossils? Who knows? But it's yet another example of an Easter egg that wasn't immediately found at launch. Sometimes weird stuff just sneaks by. Even when you got people obsessively data mining a game for secrets or pooling their resources, weird stuff just still ends up falling through the cracks again. And speaking of falling through the cracks, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, consider doing so. We'd be happy to have you, and we put out videos every single day. But let's move on. Next at number 7, it's long been theorized by Sonic fans that at some point in development of Shadow the Hedgehog's one and so far only spin-off game, not counting Shadow Generations, there was a version of the game that was much more vulgar apparently than the one we got. A version of Shadow the Hedgehog where he's dropping F-bombs, otherwise known as the swear cut. That's what they thought this was. It was one of those mystical things that was probably never going to actually be found, but lo and behold, in late 2025, the guys over at Hidden Palace managed to uncover and preserve 3 separate prototype versions of the game, which include a lot of subtle differences, including the fact that yes, Shadow does swear more. Now look, he's not going full on potty mouth like some people might have wanted or theorized in their head, but there is a line that was cut from the original game that is in the prototype where Shadow mentions Sonic's ass.
Now that was sweet, Shadow. Yeah, well, I'm not here to save your ass.
There's more, but that's the clip that sticks out the most to us because it's pretty obvious that the swearing was altered very late in development. The dialogue is almost entirely unchanged. They just cut out a lot of the more quote-unquote naughty language. I'm not telling anyone to go back and play through Shadow the Hedgehog because the game it's a rough one, man. If you're anything like me and you like this juvenile type stuff, you should definitely look it up because honestly, it still just makes Shadow the Hedgehog more awesome, in my opinion. Next at number 6, we're going way back to PS1 with this one where one streamer inadvertently managed to solve a 26-year-old mystery. Now, in Vandal Hearts 2, the 1999 tactical strategy game from Konami, you had this secret weapon called the Gradius Sword. It's something that has been discovered by data mining the game, but nobody knew how you were supposed to actually get it legitimately. At least nobody here in the West knew. Now, as discovered by Twitch streamer Carcala, the actual method of unlocking this weapon was by downloading this special save file that was included with the Dengeki PlayStation's D22 demo disc. After years of speculation that you had to do some elaborate trick to playing the game perfectly or doing something perfectly, all that really matters was to download a save off of a magazine demo disc. Yeah, that's it. What's interesting is that this information was just out there on the Japanese internet, but nobody really managed to put it together over here until just last year for whatever reason. With a game this obscure to modern audiences, it's just easy for stuff like this to get overlooked, I guess. Still, the Gradius Sword is a pretty sweet weapon and a fun little reference to Konami's old shooters, so it's just good that someone finally figured out how to actually use the weapon without resorting to cheating over here. Now at number 5, it's never not a good time to go back to Symphony of the Night. I mean, it's this all-time classic game, and it's packed with secrets. So many that people are still finding new ones 27 years after it first came out. So this discovery all comes down to Bo Bales, a software engineer that has discovered a ton of old and unknown, or at least mostly undocumented secrets in other older games. This guy has been on a tear recently. He managed to find similar Easter eggs in not just Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but also in Herc's Adventure and Wangan Trial Love. But for the purposes of this video, we're just focusing on Symphony of the Night, specifically the obscure and kind of weird Saturn version. For whatever reason, there's a hidden way to access the game's credits, and that's by simply typing in staff as your name when starting up the game. It's an instant game over, which has led people to jokingly implying that this code has solved Symphony of the Night speedrunning. If you just really need to finish Saturn Symphony of the Night as quickly as possible and want to ignore all that pesky game stuff in between the screen and at the end, then this code is for you. Look, it's a small one, but still, it's very cool that this was just figured out. Now at number 4, another amazing discovery by the same Bo we mentioned previously, the man who in the past year has been obsessively reverse engineering games to uncover secrets that have gone unnoticed for decades. This is just fascinating stuff generally, we like to call this out, but this particular secret is one of the most laugh out loud insane things we've seen in a game in a minute. It's a picture of E.T. with the text, quote, "Fuck off Bin Laden." There's a reason why the Angry Video Game Nerd made an entire episode about this PS1 stinker based on an outdated IP that came out 2 years after the PlayStation 2 launched. It's not because it's a particularly interesting game on its own, it's because of the secret code this guy found in the game files. The code in question requires some specific steps to unlock, but it's actually pretty reasonable to do so. It's just one of those things that nobody would actually ever figure out on their own. You have to reach the second stage, but then do nothing. Go back to the main menu and enter the options, input a basic code, and a new setting will appear, which is the game's credits. The game normally has no credits, so I guess they just decided because it wasn't going to be seen by anyone anyway, might as well throw in a little extra message to cap things off. And this ET game did release in 2002. Bin Laden was definitely in the news. And this is how developers chose to express their feelings, and it's in their E-rated ET the Extraterrestrial game. E for everyone. It's memorable, I will definitely give them that. But we gotta move on. Now at number 3, the easiest way to keep something in a game a secret is to make the game bad. Make it a game that nobody cares about. So if nobody plays it, then nobody will bother looking for secrets. That's maybe the justification why this code for the N64 Castlevania Legacy of Darkness has never actually been found until now. I'm joking, mostly at least. Legacy of Darkness was an improvement over OG Castlevania 64. It wasn't incredible or anything, but it was better. And one of the ways it was an improvement over the first game was that you had 4 characters to pick from. Like, look, it was a pain actually unlocking them all though, and that's the problem this code solves. There are multiple hidden codes for the game people have managed to dig up, but this is the most significant one. Discovered by 2 users on the Castlevania 64 Discord, Moises and Liquid Cat. The trick here is that you need to double the inputs of the usual Konami code and use L and R instead of A and B. That's all you have to do, and it'll unlock all characters, their alternate outfits, and hard mode right from the start. It's pretty impressive that this code and others went completely unnoticed for 25 years, but it feels like now we're only really getting people who are incredibly hyper interested in actually cataloging all this stuff. There are small dedicated communities who aren't just playing these games, but dissecting them. So big kudos to the people who managed to find this one. Without people like them, then we'd have nothing really to talk about. Now at number 2, let's talk about The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. We've talked about the Chris Houlihan room before. If you don't remember, it's one of those legendary secrets that fueled schoolyard arguments where one person would stumble into by mistake and everyone else would think it was fake, that person was lying. But in this case, the secret was real and the message in it allegedly came from a real person named Chris Houlihan, who won a Nintendo Power sweepstakes to get his name featured in a Nintendo game. The funny thing is, many people started to assume that Mr. Houlihan never really existed, that it was maybe just a name that they threw in the game, or was something put in from one of the developers or something. The actual person has never revealed themselves or told their story, so people eventually started assuming that the entire story was just some kind of fabrication. We were always of the opinion that the name and message were too specific to have really been made up. I mean, why would anyone bother making up a story like that? But never really looked into it. We were never 100% certain, at least until now. So back in September of 2025, a YouTuber named Kevin Hainline put out a video stating that he had actually met Chris Houlihan, the real Chris Houlihan, the one from the secret area message, and he set out to prove it. The video includes a letter written by the man, which maybe not might sound all that believable to you, but they provided specific details about the 1990 Nintendo Power contest, and even still had the letter that Nintendo Power gave him telling him what games they were putting his name in. The video goes even further than that, as the YouTuber spoke to the former Nintendo Power editor, who all but confirmed that it was his. So while this could be some big elaborate hoax, there appears to be more than enough evidence to suggest that the guy this YouTuber met is actually the real Chris Houlihan. Maybe he's not, but once again, I have to ask, why go to all this trouble for a secret room that 99% of Legend of Zelda players will never actually see? I don't know, this might be an old, ancient now mystery finally solved. Now at number 1, passing the kill screen in Donkey Kong. Now, you've seen The King of Kong, right? The documentary? Then you know more than you could ever hope to know about the infamous Donkey Kong kill screen. It's where all runs of Donkey Kong go to die. It's the end of the road. You play through the 4 stages of the game 22 times in a row. You get to the last barrel stage, and after a few seconds, the game freezes. This is always what happens. There is no getting around it. For years, it was assumed that while you could try to use certain glitches to complete the level faster, even with tools that make it so you can program the perfect inputs for Mario every time, it still actually wasn't possible to beat the level and get past the kill screen. That's what people thought, at least, but a YouTuber named Cosmic managed to prove that it was at least theoretically possible to get the trick to work and get past the kill screen. Even they admit that the chances of actually pulling it off are infinitesimally small. If someone was trying to do it legit, their chances of actually getting past the kill screen are essentially 0. It requires a level of luck and skill that is far beyond our mortal skill level. Now, Cosmic didn't actually beat the kill screen. He just proved that it was possible using a tool-assisted speedrun to demonstrate. It's one of those things that are, more theoretically possible than anything, but just the idea that some absolutely perfect player might one day actually get past the kill screen is pretty interesting nonetheless. Anyway, those are 10 cool new fan discoveries that'll get you interested or playing some of these games again. Just some wild new secrets, revelations, things dug up that are just really amazing to see. Really, it's always what I always say in the Friday show and on videos like this. When people love a video game enough and they're talented or smart enough, the sky is the limit. So let us know if you have any other examples down in the comments. Let us know what you think of these examples, but just anything, hit us up down in the comments, click the like button, that helps us. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.